I can give you 20 minutes of real value rather than just talk. All right. Obviously, you're an IT guy. All right. You've got some experience a little bit. All right. Anybody, why are you here?
Real estate.
Real estate?
Real estate.
Do you own a business?
Yeah.
Okay.
Consulting,
What kind?
security, transportation security.
Okay.
Podcasting.
Broadcasting?
Podcasting.
Oh, podcasting. Good, good.
I'm a retired law enforcement. We're starting a group here to catch a predator. We have a private group, so we're getting involved.
Okay. Business oriented. Great. Yeah, as well.
Business.
Business.
I know you for a long time. Miller Myers.
Oh, yeah.
Ben, you're looking
How's it
good.
going? You lost some weight?
Yes, I did.
Looking good, man.
Actually, that was someone else. That was
Yeah.
never.
No, you look great. Yeah.
So do you.
Yeah, thank
Good
you.
to see you.
New cars.
New cars? Okay.
Medical labs.
Medical labs.
A civil engineering firm manager.
Okay.
Media.
Media. School. All right, good. We'll talk about that for a second. All right, so let me give you a little background. I've known the Millers forever. I used to be chair of the Palmetto Bay Business Association, president of the Rotary Club, Jackson South Hospital Community Board, Art and Public Places. We're real involved in the community, a lot of different things. When I was young, thin, and handsome, a long time ago, I was actually a singer-songwriter in Latin America during my 20s. Yeah, but I grew up in West Kentucky, so go figure. But I actually learned Spanish, wrote 100 songs, and sold 250,000 records in Latin America. Yeah, I'm standing on stage with 10,000 people. I'm from Paducah, and I'm going, can this be real? Then I didn't go to college, I was 40, and then I went nuts and got everything, and I was racing my kids, so we were trying to, who can get the degrees first. And then after that, when I came back, I gave up music to raise my kids, and my daughter's a full-time singer-songwriter up in New York. She went to Berkeley School of Music. Well, she went to Florida State. I know that's a bad word around here because it's more of a kind of thing. But she went to Florida State, took her 5 years to get a degree because she majored in party one year, like a lot of kids do. But anyway, I started an IT company, and it blew up. It was huge, and it was just something I had a knack for. And then I retired about 10 years ago, and then I got bored. And then I wanted to teach at Miami-Dade College. No positions were open. They said, you want to run the Department of Business and Technology at the Padron campus, which is in Little Havana, which is great for me because I live on Brickell now, so it's like 10 minutes, like super quick. And so I took it, and we've grown like crazy. And so I've led a lot of the stuff that we do with AI. But my approach is very, very different. I have this unique perspective because I ran an IT company forever. But I got a master's and doctorate in business, and I ran business for a long time. So I can speak both languages. The guy that was just talking, I know his language. And there's a lot of, there's a lot of different, the MCPs and the APIs, and you guys are going, what is that? Some of you know what I'm saying? I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying they're two different worlds, okay? And we learn that. That's why you hire guys like that to take care of it, so you don't have to learn it, so you can focus on what's important. So basically, I do it from a business-first approach, and I'm going to say some things that might be a little controversial in terms of AI. What is the purpose of business? Make money. Make money. And I don't even care. It doesn't matter if you're not for profit. If you don't have positive cash flows, you can't do whatever you want. All right. You have to have positive cash flow. Now, in academia, we say maximize shareholder value, but it's make money. All right. And there's a triangle of the most important things in business. Number one is your product or service. You've got to have a product or service. Number two is you've got to have sales and marketing so people know about it. If they don't know about it, you can have the best product, doesn't matter. And then you have to have the admin support. That's the triangle. Who's going to pay for it? Pay the bills, who's going to collect the money, all that kind of stuff. So basically what happens is you've got that triangle. My argument is the purpose of IT, the purpose of information technology, is to create efficiencies so that business leaders can convert that efficiency into return on investment. All right? I'm going to give you an example. Miami-Dade College, I wrote an app, an AI app, for administrators. You put in whatever you want, it goes there. It's not a large language model, it's a topic-based thing using Microsoft, okay? So what happens is I write this app, and IT doesn't want to work with me so much, so I go to the president, who's absolutely fantastic. If you haven't met Pumiega, she's like, we were the first school in the state to have a college credit certificate, an associate's, and a bachelor's in artificial intelligence. First ones, okay, out of the gate. So I go to her and I said, look, I can save you 12 minutes a day with this app, but I need IT support. And she's going, 12 minutes a day? What does that do? And I said, no, really guaranteed, probably half an hour, but 12 minutes a day. And she says, and I said, yeah, 12 minutes a day times 5 days, that's an hour, right? 50 weeks, that's 50 hours. And I only want 1,000 of our 60,000 employees to use it. That's 50,000 hours at 12 minutes a day. What could you do with 50,000 hours? Oh, make it happen. Make it happen. So we wrote it. By the way, there was a monetary award of one of the best app for the 28 colleges that went out there, and there's monetary awards. So I opened up a bar tab across the street, and everybody that was involved came over during happy hour, and we enjoyed it. We did not allow little kids to come. All right. So anyway, so what happened was this. We did it, and we're saving the time. But here's the problem. We really haven't converted the efficiency into return on investment. And return on investment's not good enough. It's got to be exceeding return on investment. And if it doesn't do that in the triangle, why do it? You're just spending more money. So unless the leader of the business is actually converting and redeploying assets, you either grow the pie or you get rid of people. I mean, one of the two things. You can't, there's only two ways to make money: sell more, cut your expenses. That's basically it. So what we want to do is we want to learn how to do that, basically. And you've got to look at it from that perspective. So my contention is that the leader must lead the effort. The IT department, and remember, I ran an IT company for a long time. I supported here. I supported Bobman and Chevrolet, the Biltmore Hotel. I had the Village of Biscayne Park. I had Palmetto Ford, a bunch of big customers. It was a good base, and sold that and retired the first time. But I know the business side. Okay, I know how we have to make money. So the point is this: the IT people, they can build you whatever you want, but they typically don't understand the true mission vision of a company. They typically don't understand a SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. What are the goals? What are the milestones? The bigger picture, the resource allocation, the execution plan, all that kind of thing. And that's where the leader, and I'm so glad that you're here, that's where the leader must take responsibility to lead. Now, most of you are probably small business, which is what I'm more comfortable with, but you've got to lead it. You don't need to know, you don't need to know what an API or MCP is. Just hire the guy. Okay, and have him do the job, but you lead it. Don't turn the thing over to him. You tell him what you need, and then he'll build the system, because you have to steer the ship. You cannot delegate that out to somebody else. You still have to steer. So I got so frustrated, and even at school, we got all these books with the textbooks and things, and I'm looking at AI in business, and I teach a class. It's GEB 1432, and it's AI in business, and I teach this class, and the books they give us, they're not even business people. They don't have business degrees, never ran a business. They're IT people. And they're super smart, but you know what they've never done? They never went to sunbiz.org and got an LLC or a C Corp or S Corp, not an S Corp or a corporation. They never went and got an EIN, okay? Never opened up a bank account, commercial bank account, because, and they had to get that EIN in order to do that from the federal government. Never had to make payroll on Friday. All right, never had to pay the sales tax on the 20th. Don't know how much it is, discount that you get to take if you do it early. Don't know how much the penalty is if you're late, okay? I've never had to open up that line of credit, which you can't get unless you get the commercial account, because you're still waiting on that big client who hasn't paid you, but you got to meet payroll. And so sometimes you've got to make that move. See, they don't know that world, all right? You know that world. So you've got to build systems that protect you in that particular world. So I wrote a book, all right? And I didn't publish it. I'm going to give it to you all, okay? And it's for business leaders. It's not in there. That's NotebookLM. I'll explain it in a second, all right? Let me ask you a question. You do consulting, you said, for
small businesses.
Okay, and it's kind of like every aspect of it, like you might do
Security, transportation security matters.
transportation. Okay,
When they have to comply with, federal regulations regarding transportation security.
okay. So, do you have a one size fits all, or do you have something that's One thing, it depends on the customer, what they need,
Well, it
right?
depends on the customer. Yeah.
Exactly, and that's the point I want to make.
Yeah.
And so when somebody asks, what's the best AI? There's no best AI. And I'm going to explain that in a second. And it changes every freaking week. What was your first name again? Jaime? Okay, Jaime. 3 weeks ago, what was the best image generator that was out there? Probably 3 weeks ago. What would you say?
Image 2 came out, right?
Yeah, so 3 weeks ago, it was the Gemini Nano Banana. What is it this week? It's GPT 5.5.
Image 2, yeah.
I can't tell you what's going to be next week. It might be Higgsworth, I don't know. It changes so incredibly fast. Did you know that Microsoft came out this week? I'm in the Frontier program with Microsoft. They came out now with a notebook, like NotebookLM with that. They came out with CoWork. CoWork is great, but they contracted. The CoWork is this thing where you put on your desk and it does what he was telling. It does a bunch of stuff for you. And they couldn't figure it out, so they actually contracted Anthropic, which is Claude. Claude, Anthropic, OpenAI is ChatGPT, okay? But here's the problem. We can't use it at work because you have to pay by usage, and it's too expensive. So we have to figure out how to do it until those prices come down. So look, there's 7 or 8 different areas of AI. You've got robotics, you've got vision, you've got the conversational, you've got the research, and there's 7 or 8 major. Don't worry, I explain them all in this free book I'm going to give you, okay? And besides that, everyone does something better. If you're in the Google ecosystem, well, Gemini's probably the best for you, along with NotebookLM, because it's all in your ecosystem. They have a thing now called personal intelligence, and it can read across your entire ecosystem and do stuff for you, okay? If you are in the workspace, exactly. If you're in the Microsoft environment, then you go with Copilot, because, it doesn't give you 100% of what you want. It's not the best, but it's the most secure.
Apple's trying with Siri, but they're not there yet.
And they're contracting with Google
Yeah.
to write that stuff.
Yeah.
All right, they're all kind of helping each other. If you want to do coding, then you're probably going to go with Claude, or do some writing. You're probably going to go with that. If you're a social media kind of person, you probably want to look at Grok. Okay. If you're doing research at school, research, not copy and paste, you probably want to go with Perplexity. Okay, because it's the current research. So what I'm saying is there's not a one size fits all. It's different depending on what your needs. Now I'm like him. I pay the pro for all of them. I got them all. Okay, but that's my job. That's what I have to do. And I've had a consulting company for 30 years, and it's transitioned into AI. Okay, over the last 2 years, 3 years, something like that. Most of my clients, though, are banks and universities in Spanish in South America. So it's not so much here in the United States, but it's more in the Latin American environment that happens. I'll tell you a quick story, and then I'm going to show you 2 things, and then I'm going to close up. So the Banco de Cusco, the bank, a bank from Peru, was up here, right? And they want to get this is all public information. They want to get a $65 million loan from BDI. And they got to come together and talk about it because they want to implement more AI and all that kind of stuff. So they come up, and normally they would have, and the president of the bank was there, the mayor was there, okay, and all this stuff. So normally what you'd have to do is take about 3 months to curate all the data and go through it. We did it in 3 hours. Wow. In 3 hours, we curated all the data, got it, and we did using NotebookLM, which I want to teach you. Did you talk about NotebookLM? Did they talk about it? All right, it's a Google product. You've got to learn that. If you want any kind of learning, it's free. All right, this is my website, all right, my consulting. And by the way, this is all vibe coded. Have you heard the term vibe? Let's just tell it what you want. Now, it's not that easy, okay? I used to own a company called Miami Webmasters, 305 web page, okay? And we did the Biltmore Hotel. We did the first online reservation system. Did a lot of stuff, okay? It was a pretty big company. I sold it years ago. But basically, you do the coding. Now, even in here, on this particular site, this is vibe coding, but I had to go through, and I did this in Gemini. You could have done it in, you could have done it in Claude, probably would have done a better job. Anthropic, you could have done it. But basically, I had to tell, okay, change the font to this. I want the English and the, not touchscreen, I want the English and the Spanish, to come through, to be able to do that. I want you to change this font. But even after you do that, and I'm going to go into you ever heard of the term curse of knowledge? It's a real thing, the curse of knowledge.
The curse of knowledge.
Yeah, that's when somebody gets up, who's taken years to learn something, and we're experts, and then we talk assuming that you know what we're talking about. And we use all these acronyms and all these things that you have no idea what we're talking about. Okay? And so basically, I want to stay away from that. And the book explains glossaries. What is an LLM? What is the MCP? What is API? What does that mean? And why do I care as a business owner? Okay? Do I really need to know about neural networks? What does that mean? Do I really need to know about deep learning machines? What does that mean? So it kind of explains for the leader. I don't want to say it's dumbed down, but what I do want to say is that it's at a level that everyone can understand it. But I'm going to go against my thing for a second. When I built this, it's not just a matter of building it out, okay? And by the way, when I started years and years ago, when all the internet started out, I'm not kidding you that, let me see if I can find this here. Okay, we literally, and I'm not kidding at all, would just write stuff like that.
HTML coding.
And then, you know what you did second? Crush your fingers, close your eyes, and hit the enter button, and just pray that it would come up right, all right? And we spent hours and hours and hours on that, this kind of stuff. So anyway, so what happens, let me go back to English for a second here. So this is all like, but the thing is, and by the way, I'm going to give you another term, new term. Have you heard the term double prompting? Have you heard this one, Jaime? Double prompting? It's a brand new term that they're using, just get out there. And I do this a lot. If I'm going to program in Claude, or I'm going to program in Gemini in the studio, or even in Copilot, because at work I have to use Copilot, okay? I'll actually go to ChatGPT to write to help me create the prompt.
See, I didn't know how to name.
Yeah, you do it. Yeah, it's called double prompting. They just put the name on it. So what happens is you kind of get a better, and then you ask to create it in JSON. Don't want to confuse you, but what that does is put parameters around it. Just copy and paste, put it in there, it's more accurate and that kind of thing. It does a good job. So basically, and by the way, whenever you do a prompt, because we're most involved in the conversational thing, ChatGPT, whatever. I mean, you know, you can do crazy stuff. I use them all. I really do. Spanish speakers here? Do we have any Spanish speakers? Got a few. So if I go, I've got the personal intelligence turned on, so it knows everything about me. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, yeah. But like you could go, I haven't done this in a while, let's see if it works. This is, I want to go with the Copilot. Hey, can you hear me okay? Oh, wait a second. Okay, loud and clear, but it's not coming up. Can you hear me okay? It's not doing it right now. Can you hear me okay? Can you give me voice? I can hear you perfectly fine, but it's not. Do I have this thing turned off? Maybe in silent? No. Hello.
Like Star Trek.
Hello. Yes. It's not coming out right now. I'm not sure why. I just did an update on my phone yesterday, but it's talking to me. Anyway, when you do with Copilot, I'll give you a trick. I'll tell it to talk to me in Spanish, and then I'll ask it to talk to me with an Argentine accent. Oh. And it'll actually do that. It is like crazy. It's crazy. So anyway, let's go back to here, because I'm going down a little rabbit hole, and I don't want to take too much more time of the jab. So when you come over to here, I've combined this, because I made it with Gemini, which is part of Google. And by the way, you pick the tool that works best for what you are doing. And it's better to just get one and stick with it and learn it really, really well than to get all of them and try to do a little bit here, a little bit there, okay? Because when you learn it really well, if you're inspired to move to something later, you'll understand the concepts. I have to have them all because of what I do in my consulting, so I can talk to people, okay? One more story before I go there. Law firm downtown. They booked 5 hours with me. IT guy, need you to write this program, this agent for me. Great, but the first hour I want to talk to an operations person, okay? So no problem. They brought in 2 operations people. We sat down. I didn't look at their AI. I looked at their processes. Once I understood the processes, we realized that the agent that the IT guy wanted me to write would not be scalable and you couldn't use it in the future. It didn't have that legacy thing. So we re-changed it because of the discussion was between the IT guy and the operations. And if you can get, and I'm assuming you all do that, Jaime, if you can get somebody to come in that can understand your business process first, because they may say, you know what, I work with a lot of companies. Have you ever thought about doing it this way instead of the way you're doing it? Because why write a program that just speeds up a bad process?
Yeah.
Change the process. So you want to get somebody that's got a little more experience. All right. So what I want to encourage you to do over here is I want you to, I want to show you something. You can come over to here and you can download my ebook. All right. And it's free. And you can come in and just get it. No obligation. I'm not going to pound you with emails and stuff like that. Don't worry about that. But just go in there and grab it. It's PDF. I update it every month. All right. It's got a glossary. What I go over is an introduction. It's not an IT book. I go into introduction, the security, that kind of thing. Then I go into the different types of AI, conversational, vision, that kind. Then each chapter focuses on one element of business. One is on accounting. How do you apply it? And I'm to tell you what buttons to hit. I'm telling you what it can do so you can lead the IT department when you're ready to bring it in. One is on finance. One's on operations. One's on supply chain management. You get the picture? Marketing. So what happens is it just gives you the overview. And then if you are a leader in the back, I'll get a little half-a-day thing where you can sit down with your staff and determine, do we really need this? Where are we going to get the return on investment? All right, how am I doing on time? Like 2 minutes?
What time is it? 10 more minutes.
10? Okay, I'll try not to take it all. But so I'll give you another, well, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. So basically, you can get there, you can get the nomenclature, you can understand it, and you can go through. Now, to get a better understanding, I used Google NotebookLM. It's free. It's where you can curate data, and you put the data in. Then there's a chat bot. You can ask anything you want, and it's only doing what you put in there. And then there's a studio where you can make a podcast, or you can make a slide deck, or you can make what they call an infographic. An infographic is kind of like a slide deck, but just one picture, all right? And you can make those. So what I did here is if you want to get a little bit of the overview, you can come here and you can pick one of the videos, and it will give you, and I don't know if there's any sound here. So basically you can pick the chapter. There's 16 chapters. And what it'll do is it'll open up in NotebookLM that particular chapter.
Question, Dr. Thompson.
Yeah.
So I tried LM, a group of us put together a new media kit for Inspire Magazine, a product that we have. And then it was suggested by a buddy in Europe that I do NotebookLM, and I open it up and it says you want to do videos and media, and I was like, oh, this is just so wonderful, and then it wanted money.
No, you can do the free version. So what happens is, I'm not sure what happened, but there's definitely a free version.
Ran like hell.
And there's a free, now, there's an exception. There's the free and there's the paid. The free only allows you to have 50 sources, okay? The paid lets you have 300, but you don't want to make a notebook for everything. You want to make a notebook for a project,
I had a media project.
Yeah.
And I wanted it says it can put it to music, and it can do a slideshow, it can do all these lovely things.
I don't know that NotebookLM puts anything to...
Choices, whatever it was.
Yeah, okay, there's choices. But what you do is, on the free version, you can do what you want with a limit. I'll give you 10 minutes, 15 minutes, I'll show you. All right, we'll get connect on Zoom or whatever. Somebody, you might, I don't know what it is, but I know I use it every day. Our students use it. There's 50 million people using it.
Everybody could
okay?
kind of run into brick walls where you get all excited, and then they want money again. It's like, well, maybe
Well, it depends.
how much, and is it the right money? Am I spending in the right place? And it is a frustration in AI.
Yeah, so let's back up for a second on that so you can understand. Gemini Google's probably the cheapest, all right, in terms of all of the stuff they give you.
I'm paying for chat.
Now you have a limit I've never run into my limit on ChatGPT.
No.
I've never run into my limit on Gemini, except for when I'm programming, which is a Google product.
Claude
Okay?
right away. Boom.
Yeah, and they're having a lot of issues with Claude that you're running out, and then you can't come back in for 5 hours or something like that. Okay, unless you're
Right.
doing the $200 version. Okay,
So a few months ago.
I wouldn't go there.
A few months ago, when we were just kind of beginning this process, and Michael Mellon kept talking about chat this, and I said, whoa. I said, don't say chat, say AI, because you say chat, and people are gonna, like you're like AOL. You say AOL, people know you don't know, you don't know anything, because you're AOL. Same thing, and now, maybe I'm a hypocrite, but over time, I'm Mr. Chat now.
okay.
So it's,
Now you really shouldn't run out.
chat's been okay. It's
And
been fun.
I can give you some tips, but I only have 5 minutes left, so we can talk later, or you guys can have me back sometime. So, but basically, when you do your chat and you do your questions you're going to ask, always make sure to define the role. I have a whole thing on acronyms where, ROLE, what it stands for. And I always put in there, when I do it, I always put in there, don't make anything up if you don't know the answer. Ask me 5 questions before you start, so we make sure we're on the same page. And then you iterate. Start a conversation. Pretend it's you. Pretend it's an expert, and you just keep iterating and asking questions. I never get it right the first time. I have to do my iteration.